Friends, why have you forsaken me? I have been good to you. I have provided you with many a long day of entertainment. But you do not love me anymore. You think that you can just forsake me and choose a Mangmi. I am better than a Mangmi. I am more pocketable. I am faster. I play games better. I can do video out. Yeah, that's me. That's right. So, this beautiful handheld that you see in front of you right now is none other than the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus. This handheld was actually released in November of 2022. Okay, now, the reason I'm doing this video now is because, number one, this is a new channel, and I got handhelds, and I want to do my own reviews of them, and I'm sure you guys have seen all the reviews of the newest and latest and greatest, and there's nothing wrong with going back and taking a look at a classic. And so, the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus revolutionized the gaming handheld space because it had the clicky dome pad, D-pad, and it was basically Vita style. And it was comfortable and very easy to put into the pocket. The screen resolution is 750p, so it's just above 720p. And this handheld can get a lot done. In the PS2 and GameCube space, it actually was one of the first retro gaming handhelds launched that was able to handle a decent amount of PS2 and GameCube. And if you go back and you try to run some of those games now with Nether SX2, with all the improvements that they've been making to it, you may see that even more of the PS2 catalog is opened up now for you to play. And the reason why I would prefer this handheld as of right now over the Mangmi Pocket Air X is because of its portability. The Mangmi seems to be built more ergonomically. It's got some bumps, some grips, you know. The controls on the Mangmi are definitely better. I will give them that because of the fact that they have Hall sensing joysticks that are more akin to the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro or the Retroid Pocket 5 or the Odin 2 line of devices. This is just your typical Switch, sticks that you would get. However, during the time that this handheld came out, people were swapping these sticks. So there are people out there that created Hall sensor sticks for this handheld in particular, if I'm not mistaken. Now, another reason why I like this handheld, though, specifically for my use case, is because of it having video out. I'm a hazmat tanker driver, and when I'm over the road, if I ever have to stay in a hotel room or something, it's really cool to be able to whip out a mini HDMI cord and to be able to plug the handheld directly into an HDMI TV and play it via, HDMI out. And, it's consoleizing the handheld. Or I can just, plug it in to the video out, and then I can Bluetooth the controller to it. This handheld has Wi-Fi, I believe it was Wi-Fi 5 and Bluetooth 5. And so it has decent reaction when you go to hook up a Bluetooth controller to it. So the Mangmi Pocket Air X, while it does boast a larger, higher definition display at 1080p, and it's 5.5 inches, it's not quite as pocketable, and it doesn't do video out. Okay, this handheld, that in particular for me is kind of what sells it for me. Plus the fact that I've never really worried about breaking my Retroid Pocket 3 Plus by actually throwing it in my pocket. For some reason, this one seems to be one of the only horizontal handhelds that I've ever owned where I'm just like, yeah, I'll throw, I've got my screen protector on it, I can throw it in my pocket, and we're good to go. But I get a lot of PSP done on this handheld, and if you look at the specs, okay, on these two handhelds, the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus and the Mangmi Pocket Air X, okay, you're going to see that in most regards, believe it or not, the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus outperforms it in both the CPU and the GPU. And so the core area where the Mangmi would outdo it is memory and downloads. Okay, however, the Mangmi is only being released with 4 gigs of RAM. So what's the point in having, excess memory and things like that if you're just going to use the same amount of RAM as the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus? which also has 4 gigs of RAM. Okay, and the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus, being able to slap an SD card into it and expand it up to a terabyte, absolutely awesome. Okay, and the fact that this device also has grips that have been made for it, and out of all the devices I've ever owned that grips have been made for, because I have a grip for my Odin 2 Portal, and I can play the Odin 2 Portal either way, with or without the grip, okay, but this particular handheld, whenever I am playing it with the grip on it, something else that I noticed is that I can still pocket this device even with the factory made grip that Retroid put out to go with it. And so I'm like, man, you know, I can throw it in my pocket, I can put the grip on it and still throw it in my pocket. You know, granted, some people might ask some questions, might give me a few funny looks, whatever, who cares? It's my pocket, I'll do what I want with it. But I have actually used this device a lot in the gym, okay, because this device also has a headphone jack on it. Okay, I'm going to show you here, look at the bottom. Okay, you've got your headphone jack here, you've got your micro SD card slot right here, okay, and then you look right here up at the top, and you've got your mini micro HDMI out. Okay, now areas where the Mangmi surpasses this device are obviously going to be in the controls department. Okay, the controls on the Mangmi, okay, have the analogs and the hall sensors. And so, you know, this one, the shoulders and triggers on this one, there is no analog shoulders and triggers on the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus. But for the vast majority of games that you are going to be playing on this device, okay, you should be able to make do with the L1 and R2 that you have. And so I am still in love with this device. This device has been a device that I have actually bought, sold, bought, sold, bought, and sold, literally 3 different times, and it just keeps coming back to me like a boomerang. And each time it comes back, I find a new use case for it. I recently, because of the headphone jack in it, I started uploading music to this device. And so when I go to the gym, if I want to listen to some music, okay, I can plug my headphones into this, and I have all my music downloaded and no commercials or whatever. Because normally I would just whip out my smartphone, toss on, you know, YouTube in the background or whatever. But I'm a cheapskate, and so I don't want to have to sit there and listen to commercials every 5 seconds in between songs. And so with this device, I'm just downloading my music directly onto the internal storage. It has 128 gigs, by the way. That's another area where this device surpasses the Mangmi Pocket Air X, is the fact that the Mangmi only goes up to 64 gigs of internal storage. And so, you know, they've got these new devices coming out where it's kind of like less is more in the areas that are costing them the most money. And so, you know, they're trying to work with what they have in regards to the rising RAM and storage prices. And I get it. I understand it. I'm not trying to say that the Mangmi Pocket Air X is a bad device. As a matter of fact, I still plan on getting one. Okay, I really do. Because I'm a handheld enthusiast and I'm crazy about these things. I really do want to have my own Mangmi Pocket Air X so that I can get a fresh perspective on this. But for right now, going by the specs, going by the capabilities, the fact that the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus does have a better, more powerful chipset, a better GPU as far as, you know, its performance wise, maybe not so much compatibility. I understand Snapdragon is very well you know, made for compatibility and all this kind of good stuff. Okay, and you know, I understand some people may need the bigger screen, but just realize this: everybody's going gaga right now over the Anbernic RG476H, and that device has a 4.7-inch screen and a 4:3 ratio. Okay, this is a 4.7-inch screen. The only difference is this is a 16:9 ratio. And so when you go to play 4:3 content, you're going to have your borders on the left and right sides. But playing Game Boy Advance on this thing is also top chef's kiss, man. Because once again, the clicky D-pad, the Vita style D-pad, which thank you Sony for inventing that thing. But it makes this thing wonderful for playing things like Game Boy Advance, PSP, and any PS2 games where you can do widescreen patches. GameCube has a lot less compatibility when it comes to widescreen patches, and so you'll get more glitching, or you get games that just won't launch or whatever, or maybe they'll play in the worst kind of way. But even with the Mangmi, you know, you're still only getting close to the same performance as you do on the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus. And so if you own a Retroid Pocket 3 Plus, and you know, you're sitting there thinking to yourself, man, I'd really like the Mangmi, you know, it looks really cool and this, that, and the other, just realize this, you know, sometimes what you have is absolutely good enough. The Retroid Pocket 3 Plus, for me personally, has been a wonderful handheld. It continues to be a wonderful handheld because of the fact that I can just carry it everywhere and not worry about it. And you know, it's durable. I do have a case for it, but I'm not as prone to worrying about that because the screen on this is not an all glass front, and there's less glass to work with, so you know, less chances of it actually getting cracked. But anyways, that's just my take on it. This is somewhat of a review and a comparison with the Retroid Pocket 3 versus the Mangmi Pocket Air X. Like I said, I do intend to get a Mangmi so that I can do a proper review on it. But this device needs its flowers because it has stood the test of time for me. And if you own a Retroid Pocket 3 Plus, give me a thumbs up, give me a like, give me some comments, share the video. Let me know that you love me so that I can keep making more great content. Anyway, I'm Josh, the Fifth Wheel Gamer, and have a nice day.